Good morning. It's Lisa Copeland, and today it is Friday. And as some of my friends out there would say, Fry yay. It's always fun to work up to the weekend. And welcome to my show, 15 Minutes of Fierce with Lisa Copeland. And if you're up and you're awake and you've had your coffee, you will see I changed the name of the show because I want everyone to know that it's my hat crooked. I want everyone to know that it's a 15-minute commitment. It's 15 minutes of your life, but if it makes your life a better life, then I hope you'll take that journey with me. So good morning out there, Steve and Chantal and Anthony and Naomi and Larry and Max. It looks like you guys are starting to tune in. How about the beginning of my show? I am pretty obsessed with it. Thank you, Ken Walls and Jill Walls, for making that for me. As you guys know, we are covering, and I'm talking about the book that changed my life. Here it is, right here. Gosh, get the stuff straight here. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, edited and annotated by one of my best friends in the world, Sharon Lechter. And just imagine, I still can't get my hands around the fact that Sharon was handed that manuscript that was in the vault for 75 years. I'm going to learn how to use this camera someday. For 75 years. And how that book, it hasn't just changed my life, it has changed the lives of so many people. But how do you dig into the greatest work of the greatest mind in the world, Napoleon Hill? And then you are charged with editing his words and annotating it, meaning, Sharon does a beautiful job of doing summaries sometimes. Because remember, the book was in the vault for 75 years. So what I'm covering for probably the next week, what are the 7 principles? I see some more people jumping on here. Michael, Rick, Laura, hello, Sean, Nigel, Angela, good morning, darling, who is, speaking of Sharon Lechter, is Sharon Lechter's right hand. Um, so anyways, if you like this, please let me know you're here. Share it. I'm really trying to get this show over 1,000 views every morning. I don't know if, we're getting close, but share it. It's no fun to be fierce by yourself. Leave me a comment, leave me a question. Tell me how it is affecting you, how it's affecting your life going on this 365-day journey with me. Okay, so there are 7 principles, which we talked about yesterday, but I'm going to spend one more day on definiteness of purpose, which is the first principle that Hill says, to attain spiritual, mental, and physical freedom. Don't we all want to be free? Free, it isn't just about being free. It's about being free of fear. It's about being free of anxiety. It's about having the freedom to be able to have a plan to go out and live your best life, to be your best you. To me, that is freedom. When I'm walking in my power, when I'm doing what I know I'm supposed to do, it's like, I can't even tell you. It's almost like there's something almost spiritual behind me, pushing me forward. And when I'm not walking in my power, that's when things are hard to do. I love to say this about my dear friend Renee. She makes the impossible possible, right? But I think that's what fuels us, right? So one more day of definiteness of purpose. I'm going to give you 7 steps to define your definiteness of purpose. So for those of you that are joining us, it's Lisa Copeland, 15 Minutes of Fierce. Let me know you're here. Share it, like it, love it. Let's trick Facebook's algorithms, but share, share, share. And I keep forgetting to mention this. If you're not a member of the Big Sellers Mastermind, which again, Napoleon Hill, he is the one who came up with the mastermind concept. Isn't 100 minds, and in my case, 2,200 minds, better than one mind trying to figure stuff out? Oh, it's been so powerful for me. So I'm going to give you 7 steps to define and really come up with what is your major definite purpose or definiteness of purpose. And, someone asked me yesterday, can you have more than one definiteness of purpose? Well, I guess you can, except that it gets distracting. I think you need to do one thing at a time when it comes to that. So I've had a lot of different definitenesses of purpose, depending on what point of my life I'm in. And, back when I was in the car business, running car dealerships, it was to revolutionize the auto industry. I was passionate about it. And because I was passionate about it, we did it. Today as a speaker, and I know I've got a lot of my speaker friends on here that do the same thing I do. It is to inspire others to inspire others. And you think, well, what does that mean, Lisa? Well, I know that my audiences are finite, except on social media. So that's why I like this live stuff. But in an audience, it's finite. It might be 400 people, it might be 4,000 people. But those are the only people at that point, that moment in time that I'm going to reach. Okay. So I've said, I always tell my audience, if there's something I say to you, if there's something that touches your heart, I want you to go share it with someone else, someone who couldn't be here today. Because I spend so much time on my messages and on my keynotes and the things I'm going to say to define them to a certain audience to make sure that, they walk away with something that inspires them to inspire others. Okay. That is my definiteness of purpose when it comes to my job. So I'm going to help you define your definiteness of purpose. So how do you do it? Okay. Number one, you have to determine, here's my notes just so you guys see. I study this stuff, man. I love you guys. I study it. Sean and Paul, good morning. How to make, you have to determine what is your specific desire. What do you want the outcome to be? I was at an event yesterday in Austin that my dear friend Melinda Garvey, On the Dot Woman, it was fantastic. It was a women's empowerment event, and she's got a wonderful 4-minute podcast that it comes into your email every day. It's 4 minutes, and it highlights relatable role models, which is just a brilliant idea. And anyways, she had her first big event around On the Dot. And that was a room full of women who had a definite purpose to empower themselves, but to empower other women. Anyways, so it's really fun to put yourself in situations where you get to be around other people who know their definiteness of purpose. So number one, I want you have to determine your specific desire. What is it you want? And if somebody out there would take notes and put it up, that would be awesome. Good morning, Paul and Aaron. How are you? Christopher and Scott, I'm glad you guys are here. So number one, what is it that you want what do you want to happen? What do you want the outcome to be? You got to write it down. Number two, I love this one. You have to establish an end date. So I decided about 2 weeks before my birthday, which was October 10th, that I was going to take this 365 fierce walk. And if one person in the morning joined me, or if 1,000 people or 100 people, it didn't matter, because this was my accountability tool. My accountability tool to myself, and then hoping along the way I would inspire others to inspire others, right? Walking out my definiteness of purpose. Okay. So I established an end date, hence the 365. I've committed to do this every day for 365 days. After that, I hope I continue to do it, but that is my end date. So I knew 2 weeks before I started the show, I was going to do the show. I knew the day I would start the show, which was my birthday, and I knew the end date. I have a definite amount of time that I've committed to myself, most importantly, and I've committed to you, 365. So you've got to establish your end date. People keep dropping in here. Hello, Scott and Christopher and Trendy. I like that name. And then, so if you're following this morning, this is about definiteness of purpose. I'm giving you 7 steps to define your definiteness of purpose, one purpose at a time, people, one purpose at a time. Number 3, you have to determine the price. Now, what does that mean? You're like, Lisa, what the heck does it mean to determine the price? What price are you willing to pay? See, the price I'm paying right now is I'm getting up at 6 a.m. every single morning to make sure, well, I'm actually up at 5, but at 6 a.m. I'm in here. And I'm 6 a.m. Central, for those of you on Eastern time. And I'm in here and I'm studying. So before, I was trying to get my lessons ready the night before. But then in the morning, I'm not quite as sharp on them. Because I was like, why did I come up with that last night? So now I'm taking from 6 to 6:30 to come up with what I'm going to talk about at 6:45. Okay. So you've got to determine the price. So the price I pay is that, and it's not a price I'm paying. That's probably not the right word. But you have to determine what is it you're willing to do and to walk and live that definiteness of purpose. Okay. I'm willing to get up early, because remember, I always say you want to change your life, get up earlier in the morning. And you've got to determine what you're willing to do to have and to walk in that definiteness of purpose, because it is power. It is like jet fuel. Formula One's coming to town this weekend. And I always love going out there and watching the cars just speed around the track and, smelling the fuel, the burning tires, all of it, right? That's power at its best. What powers you? Believe it or not, I am so empowered this early in the morning. I don't know that I'm ever this bubbly this early in the morning, but I look forward to coming on with you guys. Okay. So number 1 is determine your specific desire. Number 2, estimate estimate the end date. Number 3, determine the price. What are you willing to do to get there? Number 4, make an imperfect plan. Okay, you're asking me, what's an imperfect plan? The E in fierce is execute. And the people that don't execute, I really have no use for them. That's just Lisa Copeland, Business 101. But the imperfect plan is you can't wait until you have a perfect plan. Make a decision, get a plan in place, even if you change the plan. I changed the name of the show. It was Be Fierce 365. And then as I was kind of working through it, I'm like, no, I want people to understand it's only 15 minutes of your life. So all the new show banners will go up today, but it's 15 minutes of Fierce with Lisa Copeland. It makes you know you got 15 minutes invested in this. Be the best you, okay? So my first plan was imperfect. I've got another plan now. It's still every day. And, again, subject to change again. So it's an imperfect plan. What is your imperfect plan? It is put in place so you will execute. Number 5, write a concise statement. Write it out. This is my definiteness of purpose. Here is my imperfect plan. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to put it on a sticky note because it needs to be concise and small. What is it that you want to do? Number 6, you want to read your statement 2 times a day. Read it, live it, breathe it. What is it that would inspire you, that you would know that you're walking in your definiteness of purpose? It isn't by accident that Napoleon Hill opens up, of the 7 principles. It's purpose. And in that book, I'm so funny with this camera. It's like you're backwards. And in our book, Crushing Mediocrity, chapter 1 is purpose, because I'm a firm believer. Renee's a firm believer. Everyone I know that I run with, I'm a firm believer. If you don't know why you do what you do, you're never going to succeed. Or you might have temporary success, but it's not going to be sustaining. Definiteness of purpose. Know your I love this when I do this. Know your underlying purpose. Crushing mediocrity. You can't crush mediocrity unless you know why you do what you do. Okay, I'm getting on a roll here. I got 3 minutes left. So number 6 was read your statement twice a day. Read it, live it, breathe it. That's what you've got to do. And then number 7 is you've got to check your execution daily. And you have to execute daily. Again, I opened up with, a lot of people ask me, well, can I have 2 underlying purposes? I guess, but have one, get one done. Walk in one, let one fuel you, become obsessed with it. Write your concise plan, know what you're going to do, execute it every single day. Read it, live it, breathe it. Because not only will you change your world, but I'm a firm believer you'll change the world around you. And don't we need that? Doesn't this world need a little bit of change? And I purposely, I love hanging out with people that know their purpose. Sharon Lecter, her purpose now is to play big again and to show people how to play big again. She came through tragedy of losing her son to come out on the other side and do something with it. How do you come out of a tragedy like that? You have to take time to grieve, of course. But instead, but now she's created this whole play big movement again and showing people how to come out of the other side of what is, I know, the worst day of your life. Right? Underlying purpose, definiteness of purpose. And there's so many times that you can take pain, things that hurt you, like what Sharon did, and turn them into or craft them and help them fuel your purpose so that other people don't have to feel that pain. Okay? There's a lot of different ways to go with this. We've got 1 minute left, but I hope that you guys will like this, share it, send it out. Tomorrow, I've got a little surprise for you. I'm not even going to tell you. I was going to tell you, but I got something a little different for you. But I will also go back in the show notes. I will put down the 7 steps to help you find your major definiteness of purpose. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you're executing it. I want to hear how you're walking in your definiteness of purpose. I want to hear how it's changing your life and how it's changing the lives of others around you. All right, so between now and tomorrow morning, I want you to go out there and be the most fiercest self, be the best version of you, go be fierce, be unapologetic about it, and walk in your purpose. And I'll see you tomorrow.